Ixnay on any harm, cause snakes play and fakes lay like hidden bombs. We march in unison, the soul is truer than eternal missions with just a lifetime to do it in. Stronghold said it.
All right, folks, we are back. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas. As the mainstream media hails the birth of the New World Order, in their own words, we just read about 20 different headlines, and those were just the headlines. Those weren't even all the articles. We're bringing in comedian Sheldon Anderson. He was recently featured in LA Times, The Economy Melts Down, and Stand-Up Comics Joke. Now, he was a former UBS stockbroker. I'm going to guess that's how he woke up, but we're going to find out right now. Sheldon, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Bermas. How are you, brother?
I'm doing very, very well, and well, you know, I mean, I'm doing as well as I can. I mean, on one hand, it's kind of like, all right, you know, they're admitting it. It's kind of out in the open. I've been vindicated after all these years of people calling me nuts, although I'm sure, you know, a lot of people are still going to be calling me nuts because I talk about all this. You are still nuts,
brother. Don't kid yourself. I mean, you have to be nuts to be doing what you're doing, even though it's the best thing for you and it's the right thing for everybody. You still got to be a little bit crazy because they're all going to want to come after you.
I guess, but you know what? I feel like no one else was doing it other than Alex, and I feel like we need more and more voices. We need more and more talented people. We need more and more avenues to bring people into this if we are going to defeat these guys. And, you know, I mean, I don't think I'm crazy at all. I mean, honestly, there's nothing I would rather be doing. I mean, it's 9 o'clock on a Friday night. I'd rather be at the bar right now. But the fact of the matter is, they just declared a new world order at the G20 summit. The headline at Time right now, this is just, I think it was up, you know, 2 hours ago, Barack Obama's New World Order. And this is one of like 20 different articles. Hannity's talking about it. It's almost like the Twilight Zone. You know, like I said, on one side we're vindicated. On the other side, it's like, wow, they must be really ready to go full force if they're announcing it on the world stage.
Well, I mean, I agree with you that I think we need more talented people and more voices. You know, I walk out in the streets in L.A., I look up into the sky, planes are flying over, dumping chemicals. It looks like a crisscross pattern. It looks like somebody's stitching in the sky, or they're going to eventually play tic-tac-toe with our lives or something like that. And I turn to the people next to me and I say, have you noticed in the sky here there are huge lines where they're dumping chemicals? And typical responses I get in L.A. are things like, I don't look up. And I'm thinking, brother, it's lucky you don't, because all you would see is crap because your head's so far up here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do hear you
insane.
There. So how did you come into this?
But, you know, sometimes you just can't get to people by saying things about New World Order. There's still, the reality is this, nobody wants to believe it. Truly, in our heart of hearts, we are all, as individual humans, good people. And so we don't want to believe that there's something evil in front of us and that there's something evil taking place in the world. We truly don't want to believe it's true. So you have to fight through that. The problem is, once you open the curtain and you look behind and you realize it's just a jerk behind there and you know the truth, there's no going back.
No, there is no going back, and I think that's a positive thing. You know, at least you're setting the seeds in motion, and a lot of people don't want to believe, you know, the terminology New World Order. They can't get their head around it, but I think with all this mainstream media coverage and the film that I'm working on right now, Invisible Empire, which is strictly about the term New World Order, who uses it, what is it, what are their modes of you know, action, what are their think tank groups, how are they bringing it into place? Hopefully that'll have an awakening where we can try to combat this thing. I mean, obviously Alex has done extensive work on this. I mean, I remember the first time I came across Alex Jones's Road to Tyranny. You know, I was just starting to learn the truth about 9/11. There weren't that many websites out there. It was like 6 months after. I was really just reading mainstream news reports and downloading my own videos. Now I hear him using this term New World Order, and I really couldn't get down with it. Yeah, Gary Hart said it. Yeah, Bush said it. But I didn't have that history of it. You know, I didn't have all that information that these other guys were saying it too. But now that, you know, Gordon Brown is on the world stage talking about it, it's going to be on the cover of Time magazine, it seems like it's not just going to be a buzzword for conspiracy theorists. It seems like it's going to be a buzzword worldwide.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, names are very interesting. I mean, for example, I think the whole problem with our government can basically be summed up in two words: Federal Reserve. It's not federal, and it has no reserves. I mean, it's sort of like spreading democracy by starting wars or protecting freedoms by wiretapping your phone through the Patriot Act. Or what? I mean, it's when did our government move from becoming a representative democracy to a pure hypocrisy?
Oh, geez, that's a great question. I mean, obviously, with the Federal Reserve Act, probably in 1913 is when it really started to kick off. And as soon as we started to allow people like Hearst Publications to do the bidding of our corporate and banking masters, it really started to slide downhill. And I would say that it's, in this country, the last president that we had, and I don't even think he was elected as somebody who was really going to be for the people, was John F. Kennedy. I think he started to see, pull back the veil and see how evil it really was. And he thought to himself, you know what, I'm going to abolish this Federal Reserve System. He got his head blown off. I mean, Reagan too. Yeah, back and to the left. Right. But Reagan was another guy. He was in these secret societies. He had to know something was going on, but he still rallied against the Federal Reserve banking system. He took on the Trilateral Commission. He actually, was very critical of George H.W. Bush for his, dealings, and he didn't want to take him at all. But then he got the nomination. He was forced to take Bush. He said he's going to abolish the Federal Reserve, and he gets shot. I mean, it feels like as soon as someone tries to oppose that apparatus, forget about it.
Well, you know what? It's this year I voted for Nader. Mm-hmm. I was originally for Obama because I wanted to believe in something new and something different, and I've always thought Bush was a total moron. I mean, at least change our ideology, give us a different look, give us a different feel, so that people start to not hate the United States. Because really, under Bush, people started hating the United States, and I was worried about that. Mm-hmm. And then I saw Obama change his mind on domestic wiretapping, and then I saw him be the first person to go for the bailouts. And then I saw him change and flip-flop every which way, and I realized elections in the United States, to me, are now kind of like the WWF used to be. Because when I was a kid, I loved it. It was so exciting. I was totally passionate. Go Earthquake, go the Bushwhack Twins, whoever. And now I realize that, in the end, the winner's already been chosen.
Absolutely, and I say the same exact thing, and I actually used to watch wrestling when those guys were around too. In fact, Earthquake was part of the Twin Towers. It was him and the Big Boss Man, I think. Oh, dude, don't kid yourself. And Jimmy the Superfly Snuka. Yeah, Jimmy was crazy. Dude.
I'm from North Dakota, okay? So just give you some background on me. So North Dakota is still, you see, it's flooding right now, but they put together 5 million sandbags in Fargo, a town of 150,000 people. 5 million sandbags to shore up the dikes and levees. Because there's a sense of community there. And I remember, Earthquake and coming back to North Dakota, and I think, it scares me living in Los Angeles because it's just a bunch of individuals that are lost. I mean, LA's an interesting place. I always tell people that LA is like a mirror. It reflects what you give it. But LA itself, there's no Los Angeles. It's not angels anymore. It's like an abused kid. I mean, the whole place is people that are just basically lost. I love living here, but this is a lost city.
I didn't really enjoy it. I lived out in Los Feliz for a while in West Hollywood, and I couldn't stand it, man. I got to be honest with you. I mean,
what it is. But I'm telling you, it's like a mirror. If you can't stand it, it can't stand you. If you think you're amazing, you're probably wrong. I mean, but it's an interesting place to live. But it's not a place that you're going to want to live when the S hits the F. You know what I'm saying?
So how do you get involved in this? I mean, obviously, you're a stockbroker at one point. So, you're wheeling and dealing. Did you go to college for that? Did you just kind of pick up on it? I mean, what's the deal?
Wow. Man, that's just a crazy story. I mean, I went to college for international politics. Okay. And like many people that had a good, mindset, I thought the UN was an institution that could be some benefit. I mean,
yeah, it's going to help the world, right?
Right.
I mean, you want...
I mean, it looks like it on the face.
I mean,
and
no
then
one wants
study it a little bit deeper, and you start to realize that even if you were in it, you would have to be part of the U.S. government, and therefore you would be a puppet of the U.S. government inside of an agency that is a puppet of other people. So that was shot. So I studied international politics, but what it did was it got me a chance to study abroad. So I studied in Costa Rica and I studied in Spain for about a year and a half each. And I started to look at the United States and the IMF so really in 95 when I was in Heredia, Costa Rica, there was a guy who was studying international politics, and we were talking about the IMF. And he was talking about how loans are made to third world countries, and then how that money is sent back to the infrastructure in the United States, the corporations who come down and put the infrastructure together, and then how they default on those loans, and then how we own their infrastructure. And I thought, well, I raised my hand. I'm the only white guy in the class, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. Why is this happening? Why is anybody making any? Just kind of sat there silent and looked at me and said, good question, white guy.
See, that's so unfair, though. I mean, what you just described is really fleshed out in Confessions of an Economic Hitman,
right,
and how they took over all these third world nations. It's just like Bechtel coming in and privatizing the water system and then making the water unaffordable after promising all these people that, you know, they're going to have jobs and cleaner water and more efficiency. See, on the face, that's what the UN is. I mean, no one is against global harmony. I mean, globalism, again, on its face, if everybody could have a nice house and everybody was fed and everybody had a job, that'd be the greatest thing in the world. We all had democracy, but that's not what is the end game of these guys. I mean, when they come out and start talking about sustainability, for instance, I mean, Gordon Brown's right-hand man says the population in London has to be 30 million within the next 20 years. Well, it's 70 million now. How are you going to get there?
I can't believe the arrogance of these people. You know what I thought about it? I saw this. I think you spoke about it on InfoWars today earlier. I'm not sure, but it was about people who call. There was this huge thing about people who called for there needs to be huge population control. Tell you what, buddy, shoot yourself.
Yeah, don't even waste the bullet. Just jump off a cannon. You know,
anybody who starts to call for people who there should be some type of population control. Here is a gun, and it's a bullet in the chamber. Start with yourself, buddy. Lead the way, because the people they're talking about are my friends, neighbors, brothers, mothers, kids. You first.